So starting with She-Hulk, we finally got Daredevil in that sweet ketchup and mustard costume, which looked much better in the light than it did in the dark. But so really, I feel like it wasn't enough mustard for my liking, and the colors were too muted. I feel like the yellow, instead of being like a goldish, like dark yellow type thing, it should have been a more bright, vibrant yellow. Same thing with the red a little bit, but I like especially if he's probably just gonna get a new costume. He's definitely gonna get a new costume in Born Again, and it'll either be all red or like black and red, with majority black and a little bit of red. So I feel like they should have just went all out with this costume and had the yellow and the red be punchy, but they didn't, and it's kind of disappointing. But it didn't look bad. I still liked it, and it looked much, like I said, much better in the light when you can really see the pop of the colors. Um, I know you're not a fan of that costume in the first place, in terms of the yellow and red. But how did you feel about it?
It was a yellow and red costume, that's for sure. I don't know why Daredevil, a ninja, would willingly choose yellow and red. She-Hulk literally mentioned the fact that it was yellow and red, and I thought maybe he'd be like, "Oh, he didn't know it was yellow and red," but like he didn't have a reaction to it. So I'm like, "Oh, so this guy knew that it was a yellow and red costume." But
Yeah, but
my
also
original
like
theory for the costume was that
he's
they were gonna do the black and red costume in Born Again, and the all the yellow parts would be black in that, and it was just kind of like a prototype or something. But I don't know that that's true because it kind of seemed to be a finished product for him. I don't really know. Um, it wasn't jarring at the very least. I will say that I was afraid that it was going to be pretty jarring, and it was not. Um, so yeah,
yeah. What was I about to say? I forgot. I feel like he's also like a guy with echolocation. The color of his costume doesn't matter. But something that I love about She-Hulk that I would like to see more from the MCU is these small team ups and cameos that aren't huge, but they just add a lot to the show and make it fun and make it feel like a comic book. And something comics do a lot to make the universe feel interconnected, and I would like to see the MCU do, especially in the shows specifically. In the movies, it wouldn't work as well to have these small team ups. Maybe in Spider-Man films to randomly have like Spider-Man fighting some villain, and then like Iron Fist shows up and helps him a little bit, and then they go their separate ways, and we never see him again in that movie. Like you could do stuff like that in the films, but in the shows, I feel like it works better to have one hero show up one episode and help them out, and then leave. Um, but to really make these team ups impactful, I feel like they need to stop, like forcing everything to build up to a crossover and let these stories live and breathe on their own. It will result in each show and movie not being so deeply ingrained with, have not only result in the greatest story, but it also be like you don't have to watch everything to understand the bigger events because not everything is so intrinsically connected. But th- that's a whole different discussion. The ending of that episode was wild. Um, a reaction YouTube I was watching YouTube I was what I'm stuttering a lot this episode. Blind Wave, the reaction YouTube channel I talk about all the time. They called that Intelligentsia with Sledgehammer, but I didn't think it would be a straight up sex tape. I thought it was just gonna be like the picture that he took or whatever. But no, it was much worse, and it was definitely messed up. And I think the writers got the exact reaction that they were looking for. Um, and for this very messed up thing that does happen in real life. But so the finale was fun. Uh, so I was gonna let you start, but instead I'm gonna give a little synopsis before you do that. So it started with a parody of the 1977 Incredible Hulk show's opening, which was fun because I actually used to watch that show when I was a kid. Uh, um, and this show had like the biggest fourth wall break yet. With you watched the whole thing, right? Just before, I don't want to spoil it for you.
obviously I watched the whole
Okay,
thing.
I just wanted to make sure. Um, Jennifer traveled through the Disney Plus app to the Marvel BTS series assembled to enter Marvel Studios and talk to Key Kevin Kevin, a robot that governs all things MCU, and joke about the real man, Kevin Feige, of course, the president of Marvel Studios. Um, and she convinces the robot to change the finale. And yeah. So how'd you feel about it? The finale specifically. We'll
I
talk. We'll
thought
talk about
it
the
was
whole show later.
I thought it was weird and a very strange ending. I don't really feel super strongly about anything about the finale. It's just it felt all over the place, but it made sense. But I don't think it worked for me.
Okay. See, I'm
I don't think this may have been my show. I was liking it decently well enough up until the finale. I'm not quite sure that this show is for me, if that makes sense.
so
Because
you
this fits in line with the show, I guess, but I did not like it. I
oh,
did not like the finale because it felt very all over the place and very random.
so right. So the show's just not for you, you're saying. So like you think it made sense for what the show was doing, but it was just too much for you personally, and that just isn't your
Yes.
thing. Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. Honestly, it's my thing. I like it a lot. It's real fun. Like I said, I'm also reading did I say that? I didn't say that. I wrote this in my notes for the next episode. I'm currently reading She-Hulk by John Byrne. And I don't know. I just really like the fourth wall breaking, the comedy. I think She-Hulk works best in a comedy setting. And while I think there were 3 episodes this series that were just very weak for me. That was episode 2, 5, and 6. Uh, 2 of which were like Titania focused, and I think the idea of Titania, a superpowered influencer who hates She-Hulk, is a good one. I did not enjoy the execution, and I did not like the bottle episode and like the wedding one. I just didn't enjoy that episode very much. And the episode before that, I also didn't like a lot. And this very second episode, where there wasn't, I feel like there wasn't anything going on. Like I feel like this show is at its best where, and it's funny enough, I think the show is at its best when it has not necessarily cameos, but specifically superpowered court cases going on. Like when there's another superpowered person, whether it's a made up character for the show or a character that they're bringing in from the comics, um, that is maybe like a minor character that nobody really knows about, and those interactions and those court cases is where the show thrives because it's supposed to be a legal comedy, and I feel like they don't. There's not enough legal in this legal comedy, and I feel like they need to kind of lean into that a little bit more because that's where it works best for me personally. And I think that as the show evolves, it'll, you know, we'll see more of that and it'll get better. But also, they need to just hire writers who know how to do court scenes because one of the writers have admitted that they weren't good at it, and you can kind of see it in the show. The best court scene was the one with Daredevil because he kind of just Charlie Cox kind of just stole the show once he showed up in that courtroom. So yeah, I like the show a lot. I think that there are some weaknesses that I hope that they iron out whenever the second season comes around. But let's talk about um Scar and the Hulk going to Sakaar and She-Hulk saying save it for the movie, which makes it feel like there's going to be a Planet Hulk movie. Do you think that's the case? And how do you feel about the introduction of Scar in this very kind of offhanded comedic way?
They've been there's been rumors about a Planet Hulk movie for the past like 2 or 3 years. I don't like the Hulk as a character, and I don't like Planet Hulk all that much as a story. I'm not a fan of Planet Hulk. I know like next to nothing about Scar other than 2 or 3 issues of the Planet Hulk story and like the last couple issues of World War Hulk, because I feel like I fell asleep halfway through World War Hulk and I wasn't really paying attention much to it. I'm not a Hulk fan. I never have been. I don't think I ever will be. Just does not interest me at all, and Planet Hulk was not that interesting to me. It would have worked better, in my opinion, as an Illuminati story than a Hulk story, but then again, that's just coming from someone who's not a fan of the Hulk. So,
Yeah, I like the Hulk. I'm not like the Hulk's biggest fan, but I like the Hulk decently enough, and I'm excited to see them just do more with the character of the Hulk. And I hope that he is finally getting another movie where he's the main character and not like Thor and he's a sidekick. Like, I'm excited to see that and see what they do, how they adapt this Planet Hulk storyline with a smarter version of the Hulk. Like, if he'll like revert a little bit at some point. Maybe he gets so angry that he reverts back. Like that'll be very interesting. I'll see. I mean, we'll see whenever it happens or whenever it's announced.